you press.
Morning, welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, March 16, 2024. We've got an unbelievable show for you. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glanz.
Middle of March this week, spring is going to sprung.
Oh,
for
yeah.
real, Harv.
Spring is going to sprung.
Spring is going to sprung. It's how you talk when you're.
I didn't know we had Charles Barkley on here with us.
So good news is houses, not a lot on the market. Bad news is also we have Realtor extraordinaire Sarah Patrick in here today, along with Jeff Gunsberg from Title Connect. And you know what, John Kolb? We have one of the top originators in the country, Mr. John Kolb, also in our office. Becky Alley, top 1%. Becky might be calling in a little bit
Becky's
later.
Calling in, yep.
And you, Harvey Freed, the host with the most Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, heard every Saturday morning, 9 to 10 on this station, 97.1. But I want to ask Sarah right out of the gate. You know, Sarah, spring's going to come. It always does. Here we are, but nothing has changed in the last 2 to 3 years. Not a lot of inventory. Rates are up. They're not coming down regardless of what anybody says. I don't care what John Kolb says. We have a bet. They're not coming down to 5.5 by the end of the summer.
Whoa. Our bet is it has to hit the 5s by the end of the year, and that could be 5.99
okay,
for
I'm safe.
15 seconds.
I'll double with everybody listening.
Oh, $2.
These things, we have to be reality-based, Sarah. And the proper introduction for you, Harvey will give that. But I want to go really fast and really into it this morning with you and Jeff. Reality is rates aren't coming down. Home prices aren't coming down. There's not a lot of inventory coming on the market. So you have to be prepared right now. And as a real estate agent, you're not working with people that aren't pre-approved and that you know who the lender is, correct?
That's right. We do not. The problem is that this space is so competitive that you have to be prepared to make an offer that day and that moment, pretty much, right? That day to get these offers accepted. So it's important that you work with somebody who's qualified to help you in the mortgage space to get you prepared for what the payment potentially will be, what they can expect down the road 30 days, those sorts of things. So it is really critical.
And to maybe right in and pull the trigger right then. And that's
right.
Really scary for a lot of folks. Again, it used to be, hey, Sarah, look, I love the house. Let's call my mom and dad. Maybe they can come out tomorrow. And that's not happening nowadays. You have to, like you said, it's now or never. If you don't get your offer accepted, you're not in the conversation anymore.
That's right. And it happens very quickly.
So, Sarah, I wanted to come out real strong this morning because I'm going to show everybody we are on Facebook Live, whatever this is called, and
that's a cell phone.
I am getting, thank you very much, and I hate the cell phone, John. I like my own BlackBerry. I like the BlackBerry.
I love the BlackBerry,
Sarah,
too.
I love the BlackBerry.
I'm getting texts right now, and we have clients out there. They're all over in metropolitan Detroit and all around the country looking. And my client says, hey, listen, put in an offer on a home, and this is 9 o'clock in the morning. This is 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Please call the realtor up and let them know that we are approved. They're not pre-approved. They're approved. All documents are in, tax returns, check stubs, bank information, down payment information, where the funds are coming from, which, by the way, on a purchase is the most important thing. Where are your funds coming from? So this is why I come right out of the gate, everybody, and say, hey, listen, it's hot and heavy out there. It is crazy out there right now. So anyway, sorry, Harvey, do the proper introduction. I just want to let everybody know that this is reality. What's real right now are less homes on the market, rates not coming down, very competitive, overbidding, all over asking. This is what's going on, Harvey.
All right, well, we did mix it up today, and of course, we brought Jeff Gunsberg in from Title Connect. We've known Jeff for a long time. Welcome back, Jeff.
Long time, thank you.
I had the pleasure of coming to your office about 2 months ago. Your cousin had closed down a house. It was cool to see your space. Really cool. And of course, if you have title questions, you want to give us a call. 248-539-9797. Sarah Patrick comes in from Oakstone Real Estate out in Rochester. You've been around for 25 years. Already love your vibe walking in. You sure your last name's Patrick? We have to get to that a little bit later. St. Patty's Day tomorrow. So be safe out there for all you folks driving. And if you're going to hit the bottle a little bit, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's your friend. Call me up. Harry and I are giving drives out tomorrow. Someone's going to call us on this, Harry. That's okay. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be out, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, John Kolb. I'm going to be out on the east side tomorrow, back at the condominiums. I'll talk a little bit about that later in the show.
Great. I'm glad you're going to be on the east side at the condominiums.
The condominiums are new construction. I guess got too much information to share with you on that, so we'll get to that a little bit later.
Great to be here. Happy that the sun's out, and happy we got Gunny here and brought Sarah. So
there's a lot of national news about real estate commissions and stuff like that going on out there. We're going to maybe touch on that next week. Well, maybe we'll hold off on that a little bit, because the first thing I thought of this morning was real estate commissions have always been negotiable, and you get what you pay for. So I'm just going to say this about it this morning. If you have an agent out there who offers these great services like you, Sarah, staging of the home, proper market analysis, proper pricing of the home, education, getting sellers prepared to sell the house and maximizing what they're going to net from the sale. What's the difference what you make? If the sellers get what they need because you did what you needed to do, that's the key.
That's absolutely right. I mean, I don't see it changing the landscape too much in that area, because you're right. It has been variable for a long time. Decades, in terms of for me and my team, we have had a variable scale and commission for a long time, depending on, like you said, am I helping you with moving services? Am I helping you with cleaning services? Am I not doing any of that? Am I doing paid marketing? Those sorts of things will change what the commission looks like for the seller. And so I don't see it changing a whole lot.
I don't
think so either.
I really agree with that, because everybody thinks now that it's in the big headlines. Maybe people know about it. So it's been all over. They think it's going to automatically go from 6 down to 2. It doesn't happen that way. No. I'm the reality guy. In reality, these things aren't going to happen. I'm in agreement with you. And I'm going to give the analogy I always use. Okay, when I go out on a Saturday night, do I want to go to a restaurant at 7 o'clock that's not busy, or a restaurant that's busy? Because the best night of the week is Saturday night, and if you're walking into a place and there's nobody there, what does that tell you? I want to go to my agent, who she's been in the business 20, 25 years, or however long, that does the right thing. Is she going to stage it? Is she going to let me know? Is she going to advertise it? Is she going to tell me the hardcore truth? Look, at your house, really, I can't list it because it's not up to par. You got to do this, you got to do that. I want that in my agent. And I think that this whole commission thing, they're not cutting. Listen, everybody wants to think they're going down to 2%, 1%. Not going to happen. Just like rates aren't coming down to 2% and 1% ever again. Not happening.
Right. I mean, they've had realtors out there that do flat fees, and they're just not real realtors. They're just, probably attorneys trying to do something on the side. All they do is the paperwork for you. They don't do anything else. They don't help you list it. They don't help you negotiate. They just sit there and do the paperwork for you.
Yeah, it's the it's the same thing for us. You remember the $99 closing fee?
Yeah.
So same thing. So
you get what you pay for.
Jeff Gunsberg for Title Connect, and it goes something like this. You talk about title policies, you talk about a lender's policy, you talk about a mortgage policy. It's not the sexiest topic in the world at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Come on.
The however is...
But Jeff, you're sexy. Don't worry. We'll get to
it could be one of the most important parts of the entire transaction, because Michigan is a title state, which means that you perform the closing and you're there representing both sides of the transaction. So get into that and say why this is so important. And you know what? If any claim comes up from 35 years ago, Jeff, what happens?
Yeah, so What we do is protect, just simply we protect the lender and owner of property against financial loss. Just simply, that's the least boring way that I possibly can put it. But we do search for taxes. We search for water. We search for association dues. We look for old liens. We search bankruptcy. We search divorce. We search all of these things to make sure that we're protecting the owner and the purchaser, the owner and lender.
Well,
Right, so
everyone involved. Yeah.
I got a question. So, how important is an owner's policy on a cash sale? So, if you're not using a mortgage company, how important is that owner's policy to the buyer on a cash sale?
It's absolutely crucial because one of the main things that we see on a regular basis is I purchased this property on a quick claim deed. And what that means is that you never got title insurance, you're not protected, and you go to sell the property and you don't have the ability to do so because there's a lien that I never looked at, I never saw, and I could never protect you against.
Right.
All right, 248-539-9797. There's a whole lot more than that. You'd even talk about, easement agreements, private road agreements. There's so much more involved in real estate. People don't know what they don't know. 248-539-9797. When we come back, all those calls. All righty, welcome back to the show. We are live here in the 97.1 studios, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, equal housing lender. You can call us at Capital Mortgage all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Keep it here. We got sports coming up, of course, after the show. Pat Caputo will be coming in. Red Wings hockey starts at 12:15. They're going to get off this losing streak today. They're out in Buffalo, so keep it here on 97.1 all day long. We do take your calls, 248-539-9797. Sarah Patrick with Oak and Stone Real Estate out. Sarah, look, I wrote down some numbers here about Miami and some affordable places and actually price drops. Miami came down, Oklahoma City, listen to Cincinnati, Denver, Colorado. A little bit of a price drop. We are not seeing any of that here in Southeast Michigan at all.
No. In fact, we put an offer on a property last week, $100,000 over the asking price and did not get it.
And you still didn't get the house.
No.
So the
did not get it.
What was that final offer then? Give me the number on that.
Actually, and
350,
this is the other thing that we're seeing is that it's not even at the lower first time home buyer cost. This was at a $750 number. So
Wow.
They ended up getting a house listed at $675. We got it at $750.
That's what the competition is looking like. As much as we talk about this pre-approval stuff, Harry, it's more and more evident. The evidence is out there that you have to be really, really prepared. And we talk about this pre-approval because we're going over your numbers and your documents. You talked about funds to close. You might need extra funds to close. That's why it's so important to be prepared.
Well, the transaction starts at how much money am I going to put down? How much money do we have saved up? Are we getting gift funds? Where is the money coming from to consummate the transaction? All right, it's not get in your car, hope you find something, throw in an offer, and then we'll cobble the money together. No, it's reverse. We have to have the money together. Let's get pre-approved and then call Sarah up and say, hey, Sarah, what do you have? I mean, what's going on? So what's going on right now is that their average age for a first-time home buyer right now is 34 years old. It's just the way it is. So 27 to 41, in the middle is 34. That's the age range right now for a first-time home buyer. We've seen that all over the country. And what's going on is, and as I said to John on the podcast this past Wednesday, John's favorite group is the millennials, okay? John, they're not living in their mother's basement anymore. They're buying homes, and they are the largest consumer group that are in the market looking to buy homes. The thing is, and when we were buying homes, there were a plethora of homes on the market. You didn't have to go over asking. As a matter of fact, if you saw a listed price, you automatically, Sarah's shaking her head because she knows where I'm going, you automatically offered way under. And then you'd come up to it, and then everybody would say, well, it sold for 93% of the asking price. Now they're selling 99 and way over. So John loves working with millennials. John, what's the advice that you have to millennials?
Let's just get this straight. I do like the millennials. My problem with millennials is they don't pick up the phone. It's all text. And, can I send you a message on Facebook? No, this is a mortgage. Get your big boy pants on. Let's meet in person, talk on the phone. We'll get it done. But, no, here, my advice for the millennials are, like Harry said, get your money together. Get with your team. We always talk about your team, your mortgage person, your title person, your realtor, because the example that I want to share is that this week, a realtor called me, or I called the realtor, saying, hey, I want to talk about our buyer, how good they are. And he's like, well, we're kind of iffy on your offer because it's only at 3% down. And I said, well, that's because they went over asking, and there's an appraisal guarantee in there. So we need extra money for the appraisal guarantee.
Right on. Really smart talk, yeah.
Right. So if the house appraises, they've got 10, 15% to put down. But if it doesn't, we've got the extra money, and they're going to do a 3% down loan. Yeah. So we hedged our bet, did worst case scenario, 3% down, and then we have extra money. And he's like, oh, well, that wasn't relayed to me. And I said, well, that's why I'm calling you.
Yeah. Hey, Gunny, it's a trickier market now, isn't it?
I like that, Jeff.
Absolutely.
It's a trickier market now. Jeff Gunsberg, Title Connects with us. And it used to be, you guys coordinate everything. You coordinate the buyer side. You coordinate the seller side. You coordinate everybody getting together in the room. In the old days, there used to be 2 attorneys. There used to be 2 realtors. The mortgage guys would show up.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd have 20 people in the closing table. It's changed now, but it's more rush now. You're getting calls right now because there are more cash buyers. People want to close in maybe 3 weeks. It's more rush now, isn't it?
It's absolutely more rushed. It is our job to make sure that we can certainly accommodate that. But on the flip side of that, and the advice I can kind of just give to everybody, consumers, out there is, make sure that you're dealing with, somebody who's going to take the time to go through things with you. Make sure that everything is accurate. Make sure the paperwork is correct. 48 hours is our time frame. That's what our requirement is.
Oh, that's once we got to clear to close. That's once you have to clear to close, right?
Correct. So that's what's, it's kind of crazy because 48 hours to me to review mortgage paperwork seems to be, not, a rush, right? So under that in our mind is a rush. So definitely correct.
John brought up the olden days and the new days and maybe the younger generation, how they want to communicate, just maybe not by, speaking to you, but maybe through text and this and that. We could do that. Look, if you don't want to talk to us, you can still call Capital Mortgage Funding. We never have to talk to you. You can just email us, send us your documents. You can do your application and all that. But the truth of the matter is the most educated, and then when we're talking to a lot of families that got mortgages in 16, 17, 18, 19, when they were refinancing with us to save money at Capital Mortgage Funding, I noticed a lack of education. They didn't know from A to Z really what was going down. They don't know what they signed on that purchase agreement. So, John, I really appreciate that. The olden days, we would invite people. Harry would say I was entertaining. I would sit for an hour and a half talking about everything, Sarah, that could go down on a house. And again, we're just preparing them so that when they meet that great real estate agent and you tell them, hey, we've got some inspections to do here, they understood what was coming up, what the next step of the process was. So key.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, this is part of the value of what we bring to the transaction is that we're helping you every step of the way to get to where we are. And an interesting story I worked with Title Connect on, and someone had just called me. They weren't selling or buying a home, and I want people to do that. If you're stuck in a situation, call us because we are the experts in this industry. And I worked with Title Connect with someone who had an assessment on their street that they did not know about because their real estate agent nor title company had disclosed that it was in this closing package that they had signed. $45,000 assessment that the city is now requiring that she pay within 6 months. And she had no idea. And she is a preschool teacher and she's lived in the home for 15 years. And so it's so critical.
I don't know how that doesn't come up through a sale. I mean, that's
it certainly should.
Yeah, right.
Certainly
That should have been
Absolutely.
part of the title work that was done on the purchase, and fortunately, it wasn't.
Oh, it was on there.
It was but
no one read it.
Wow.
Well, but that's why you need an owner's policy. That's why you need somebody.
Right.
And that's why still in this world that we live in, relationships are the key. Knowing the right people to call. So, Sarah, you work with people because you have a relationship. You know they're going to get the job done. I know when I call Jeff in his office, I call him, and then he just gets it done. I don't have to make another phone call. We fire off a couple of email. It just gets done. And like I said, title might not be the sexiest part, but, you talk about people that want to go ahead and add people to title via a quitclaim deed, Jeff, or a ladybird deed or anything like that. There are reasons and there are legalities. These are legal documents that people want to go ahead and they just want to sign their name to. You're there to go ahead and make sure the transaction gets done. We love attorneys. I love them. I do it. I say it all day long. I love attorneys. And you need sometimes you need a great real estate attorney to go ahead and sift through that. But on a normal residential real estate closing, it doesn't get to a closing table without the title company checking everything. Because, Jeff, you guys can't close it if everything's not in order.
Absolutely. That's our job. We're the quote-unquote gatekeeper, right? So absolutely.
For all sides.
For all sides. We represent everybody that's involved in the transaction, and we want to make sure that everything is clear. Absolutely.
All right, we take your calls all morning long here. 248-539-9797. Again, we always bring you mortgage and real estate talk. What's going out there today in the marketplace, being prepared to make that offer. And the reason why is you might have to spend a little bit more money. You might get that counter offer. So that's why it's so important to really have as much education going into the process that you possibly can. Again, we'll take your calls all morning long. And lots of information to bring you. I am going to be out. Let me just go with it, guys. I love announcing it. Chuck Connolly and I go out at Clearview Homes, Solid Constructions, many extras, Lottie View, Riverside Woods. Again, take M59 all the way to Jefferson, just about 3 miles north on Jefferson tomorrow. These are attached condominiums. Unbelievable opportunity. Talk about some great stuff. This builder's really flexible. They're just offering everything, including these prices start at $350. Again, to find new construction starting at $350 is impossible. The builder's, he's really giving away. He's giving away, if you want to finish the basement, he's putting in 2 bedrooms and a bathroom for like $23,000. It's just an unbelievable opportunity. Come and visit us tomorrow out in Chesterfield. And also, we're up against our second break here. So when we come back, we're going to take all your calls, 248-539-9797. Keep it here. All righty, welcome back to the show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Fund. And you can reach us at Capital 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We've been there for over 32, going on our 34th year coming up, 24 years on the radio. Want to thank Sarah Patrick for coming in, of course, from Oakstone Real Estate. You might know that out in Rochester. Great office. Sarah's awesome to talk with. Jeff Gunsberg, Title Connect. If you have title questions, this is the show to call at 248-539-9797. I'll throw that out there real quick, Jeff. Now that we're here, now it's already 2024. I don't even know what happened in my life the last 20 years. But guess what? The roofs, the roads, they're getting torn up quite a bit. So these assessments, as we were mentioned, they're becoming more and more. It's evidence out there that there's a lot of money and a lot of assessments that are coming up. People need to know what they're signing up for.
Absolutely. So, this is something that we search when we're pulling up the public records. Assessments that are in your neighborhood for sidewalk repair, for road work, etc. All of those things. It's really extremely important to know when you're looking at your title and having somebody who's experienced. We've been around for 20 years, so we know how to search those items, and we know to make sure to let everybody know what your responsibility is, what your payments are going to be on that, whether you're going to be paying for it in increments or it's something that's going to be due that the seller needs to pay at the closing. But it's definitely something that needs to come up.
Hey, Jeff, are there certain municipalities, certain cities in the area that will allow you to pay them off over time, and then some want you to pay them all up front? I mean, explain that. That's a little nuance. Again, it's 9:30 now, so we're not as boring as we were at 9 o'clock on the title situation. But bottom line is that it's not all the same in all cities, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be uniform. I think with all municipalities, that's kind of the goal was always to be that, but it's definitely different. Some require that it needs to be paid off all in one lump sum. If you're selling the house, some allow that to continue on as you go. So it just depends again on the municipality. But talking to an experienced title person,
the option of having them pay off right at close if you sell the home, because of what Sarah just said about her client, that what they went through. Because whose fiduciary responsibility is it to go over those documents? What I like about Title Connect is that you guys open your mouths, you make a phone call, you talk to the clients. So many times I'm on the email and phone with the title company saying, okay, the buyer needs to get wire instructions. And what they say back to me is they can go to our website. I'm like, okay, well, did you tell them that? They've hired you to do their title work for them. Have you relayed any of this information? Because I'm the one going back and forth. Why aren't you reaching out, title company? And that's what I like about Title Connect is they actually pick up the phone, make the phone, do the old school type of thing like we were talking about.
Right. Well, old guy, get off the long guy here. I mean, I'm not calling you to tell me that I'm going to go to a website.
Absolutely.
Okay, not going to happen. I'm calling you, so you're going to take care of me, and I'll pay you for it.
Especially for especially for one of the most important things that's out there now is wire fraud, right? So,
especially with Harry's AOL.com email. So,
thank you. Yeah,
that's
noise.
Touch on that a little bit about the wire fraud that's going out there.
I mean, it is. It's every day, every single day that we're. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I like where you're going with that.
Every single day that we're in business,
right?
This is a threat, and it continues to get worse. And you have to be vigilant about it. Our security protocols, the way we send things. Right. We do not send wiring instructions other than in a secure portal directly to the person who is going to receive it. I daily get people who say, my client can't get in the portal. Send it to me. Let me forward it on.
Nope.
Terrible. That is the worst thing to do. Don't ever do it. Any consumer that's listening, do not ever receive wiring instructions in that manner, only from the title company directly, and then a verbal phone call to verify is extremely important.
Thanks
Make
for
sure
setting
we
this whole
are
thing
who
up.
we are.
I love how you set this whole thing up for me, Jeff, and I really appreciate it. So
My
there's some
pleasure,
money to be
anytime.
exchanged, right? The closing table, Sarah, they're exchanging some serious amount of money. A lot of times it's a small amount if there's already large deposits down.
Right.
But definitely 10, 15, 20. What about $150,000, $200,000 gets wired to the wrong person? It's stolen money. The scammers are out there. You've got to be You've got to be very careful. Again, just a little heads up out there of the scammers. Be very careful. Now, you guys will take cashier's checks. We've even heard some scary stories about those lately. But if you are purchasing a house and your family's purchasing a house, you have to call directly to the title company, verify the wiring instructions that you already received. So just a couple extra layers of security there will help protect your money that you're bringing to close. That's very important stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, now that we're done scaring everyone, John Kolb, from mortgages and buying a house, Sarah, I told you, let's talk about some fun stuff. Buying a house is so much fun. I had Natural Way out yesterday. I'm getting excited for the springtime. Pretty soon, we're going to start sprucing up our properties outside.
Yeah, and that is so critical when it goes to selling a house. I can't express enough how much a neat house inside, clean and neat, and then also outside. Get the landscaping spruced up.
Is mulch important?
Get mulch.
Oh, here we go.
You mean it's hard when you have a hoarder to sell the home?
No, this is the annual mulch conversation by John Kolb.
I like our building to look nice. I want some,
and that's fine. You want
as
that.
I'm making fun of Harry, my chair is sinking again.
Okay,
Everyone's got their thing.
You don't need mulch every single year. You could turn over mulch. Okay, you can add a little bit of it, but you don't need to keep dumping mulch every single year. But anyways, because the return on investment on mulch is not it's not
Look,
significant.
it doesn't
John.
cost that much money, Harry, to have a couple yards of mulch dropped off to spruce up your house.
And it
I'm
does
gonna
look
go with
nice.
it. Let's talk about that.
But I would assume you
Yeah.
would put the mulch down if you were selling
Thanks,
your
Sarah.
property.
Of course
this
you would. You
season.
make it look good
Yeah,
and everything like
right?
that. Come
Little
on,
curb appeal.
But if you're my wife, you redo the landscape every year when you live in the house for 31 years. So that's what you do. You just keep redoing it.
That's what normal people do.
Yeah, well.
Our landscape
I never
people
said it
out there
was
are going to be
normal.
like, yeah, exactly. This show knows. Fix up that landscape. You're going to get more. Hey, listen, no doubt you're going to get more for your house if it looks and it's tidy and it's so much easier. Because I had a listing recently where I referred it to an agent, and sure enough, they were supposed to go out there on March 1st. We already got the phone call. It said, wait a minute, I still haven't decluttered the house. And you don't know what you don't know. You start decluttering your house, maybe you're going to need a storage facility. Maybe you need to give away some of this stuff or sell it or give it away to, charity or something like that.
That's right. And I think that the message that I would send in this environment is everything is happening so quickly, but you can slow down, right? You can ensure that if you meet with a real estate agent and your loan officer early to get prepared for these situations, it really helps you in the process so that you don't feel rushed and you're not decluttering as people are walking into your home. So have us out there early, have us evaluate your house and give you tips on what's going to maximize that price for you and make sure that everything's in line. By the time that sign gets in, you're ready to roll.
And I'm guessing, Sarah, the professional that you are, you guys do offer staging options. Services. Thank you.
Yeah, and even further than that, we were talking about a listing that we have in Grand Blanc right now. We had to go in there and get some contracting work done.
Yeah.
There were some walls that needed to be done. Unfortunately, the person had passed away, so the kids were left with mending to the house, and so they needed some advice. They needed some contacts on how to get that stuff done. So we go in there early. We make sure all of that work is executed. Everything's cleaned up. We had a professional cleaner come into the house after all that work was done, and then we put it on the market. That way, you're ready to roll, and you're giving your best foot forward when you go to try to maximize that dollar.
Sarah, I'm going to ask you a question right now that I think people want to know. Average time, because people like to wait. Everybody's a procrastinator. Say that 10 times
Procrastination,
fast.
yeah, easy for
They like to wait, and they just want to wait around. When they're looking to buy a home, they want to wait till the rates come down. They're looking to sell a home. When's the best time? But right now, if you list a house, and the house is a quality house, or how long is it going to take to sell?
The weekend.
Yeah, still that way.
Yeah, and again, I would urge people not to rush into that. In terms of if you're going on the market on a Wednesday, you don't have to take the offer on Thursday. See what's out there, let it go through the weekend, get the maximized amount of people in that property, and get the most money you can for that property because people are paying a lot for these homes right now.
Right.
So just get somebody who's skilled enough to know, okay, we're at that number, we can stop, or you know what, let's go till Sunday and see if we can maximize any more.
Because if you put it on a Wednesday, you get people on Thursday, but there's some people that might not see it till Friday or Saturday, and that might have the better offer. Not
right.
necessarily the higher offer, but a better offer that's going to be more realistic for what your needs and wants are.
And maybe a more quality offer. So we were talking earlier about making sure that you've gone through that, ensuring that you've looked at the financials on the mortgage side and that they're really qualified because today we are competing with cash. So we've got to make sure that from the mortgage perspective that the loan officer can communicate the fact that they are qualified, their income docs have been reviewed, everything's in process, and we can do it at fast close to compete with those cash offers.
Right. Just what Jeff wants to hear, a fast close, right, Jeff?
I love a fast
But
close.
you know what? That's what we are doing now. We're prepping everything on the front end where we're getting everybody ready. It's already run through underwriting. It's just
Exactly.
find the house, the appraisal, and get it done quick.
Hey, Becky Alley's on the line with us. Good morning, Becky, and thanks for joining the show.
Hey, everybody. Yes. And to kind of go back on like the topic that you guys are talking about, like sometimes cash is at least 2 weeks for closing, right? So sometimes cash financing can go just as quickly as cash, like we were just talking about on air. So, but you have to have your hat in the ring. You have to be prepared so that way when that house comes along, if you are going against cash, if you have strong financing behind a strong lender like us, you can compete with cash because cash isn't always as fast and it's always not as lucrative.
Jeff, congratulations on your 20th anniversary of Title Connect. That's really cool stuff. So in 20 years, Jeff, quick question. How many times have people walked in with bags of cash to close on the house? It's 20 years now, and the answer is?
The answer is, I'd say 3.
Really?
Yes,
There
I've
was
seen it
this
three.
time. How much-
I've seen it 3 times.
Okay,
yes.
how much did they bring in? Like, were you counting it, or are you talking like $100? What are you talking
Well,
about?
I can't accept it. So anything that's over $9,999.
You cannot
I
accept.
cannot
That's correct.
accept that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
no.
once in
Yeah.
a blue moon,
We've
after 20
we've turned
years,
them around and said, you can take it down to the Federal Reserve downtown, get it checked out, and then they left and never came back.
Or the corner party store for a money order.
Many money orders.
Becky, you had a busy week. Just real quick, what's going on in your town, and what do you got happening?
It's busy. I mean, you have, I've been doing pre-approvals all night, all morning, because people are out. When the West is waking up from their long winter's naps, there's a lot of open houses, and people are looking to write offers. I feel like in the next 30 to 60 days, it's going to get extremely busy where, buyers are going to get a little frustrated. But I also think that we will see some inventory because those, individuals that have been sitting on equity, that maybe have a 5% interest rate, they might be willing to unlock those equity handcuffs for 6.5, 6.625, even 6.875 and go to the next home.
All right, we're up against our little break here. We got 9:41. The sun is shining here in Southeast Michigan. Keep it here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, 9:44. That was a quick break. That's right. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. You can catch us all. I'm Harvey Freed. He's Harry Glanz, John Kolb. Becky Alley's on the line with us. You still there, Beck?
Yeah, I'm still here.
There she is. She's got lots to share with you. And we'll take your calls again, 248-539-9797. Home buyers worried about mortgage rates can at least take comfort in the fact that home prices have seemed to stall a little bit. I don't know.
No way.
There's still multiple prices.
You're reading a national article.
I'm sure.
Not
This is
happening.
the first week during which prices have not climbed since October of 2023. What are we talking about? A 1 week window here.
Right.
So I don't know what that means. And again, maybe that's because there's some crazy snowstorm or something coming across the country. Or maybe the folks in California said, wait a minute here. maybe these crazy rains and the fires and the flooding and everything, maybe they don't want to live there anymore.
Let's go back to this, because the stats that you are giving are national stats. Like you said, the statics. The stats you're giving are national stats.
Yeah.
You said Oklahoma, Miami, Denver
San
were
Jose.
all dropping. Okay. Those are because
1%.
They were high.
They went higher than everybody else right out the gate. So they're starting to curl back. Locally, we are still increasing. We are not dropping.
Love it, John.
You heard it right from John Kolb. That is 100% true.
Becky, you're finding that too, right? I mean, listen, we try to give the best consumer advocacy advice here on this program for the last, 24 years. Becky, tell people out there, preach it. I need you to take people to church right now. Tell them what's going on in reality, because we're on the street every day, and tell everybody what's going on the street.
You have to have your ducks in a row. You have to be prepared in this market. People are going to be going over asking. It's already happening. It doesn't matter if the price point is $150,000 to $1.2 million. I have every end of the spectrum, and people are losing out to offers with. Some of them have went over $150,000 over asking, and they've lost out on some of these properties, even in the last 2 weeks. So everyone is going to be coming out in droves. I do think we're going to continue to see that appreciation because this is a housing crisis, and people are coming in from the outside to Michigan because we are still one of the most affordable states in the United States, and we have very desirable communities. So that's why we have the programs that we have as well to help our first-time home buyers or even our step-up buyers where people are trying to occupy these homes, because it's important that, if you want to live in this house, that you are standing out of the crowd outside of the investors. And the investors don't care what the interest rates are because they know that they're going to do cash flow and you're going to pay their rent. You're going to pay their mortgage payment. So it's very important that if you're trying to occupy these homes, you're educated, you know what your top dollar is, and you know what your flexibility is, because if we need to compete, because we're all competitors in that room, it's 365, we're going to fight for you, but you got to make sure that you're ready to fight for yourself and you're listening to what we're saying so you can win these offers, because it's going to get pretty wild in the next 60 days for sure.
Yeah, I like that, Becky. And on the podcast, we talked about, everybody's seen the show Shark Tank. If you're an investor, if you're a business person, you watch Shark Tank. And on there's a woman who's a very successful woman named Barbara Corcoran. She's a realtor. She's a real estate broker, very successful investor. And finally, she came out this past week and said, you know what? Prices are going up on homes, and there are very few homes on the market. Now, we pride ourselves because she says it must be true, right? We've said it for 2.5 years now. What we try to do is try to stay ahead of the curve and try to let everybody know that this is what's going on in reality. So we live in reality. We're trying to prepare the market and we're aligned with great realtors, great title companies, our partners, builder partners. We try to let everybody know what's going on. And all I can tell you right now is this. If you're paying rent, you're paying somebody, it's 100% interest rate. People, the average mortgage rate over the last 50 years is over 7.5%. Where are we right now? We're right there. So this is average for what's going on. Nobody wants to hear that, but it really is. This is a great time if you could find a house to buy a house, because if and when rates come down, we'll save you money. That's just the program you have to be on.
And we've got our own Mr. and Mrs. Wonderful Capital Mortgage Funding. So, of course, you can call Mrs. Wonderful.
Thank you, Harvey.
Hey, Becky, go ahead. What else?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to say, to be in alignment with that is just that, when no one wants anybody to overpay for a house. This is not what we're promoting. However, the market, and if you're going against someone that wants to beat you for that property because they want it, they don't care. They have the pockets or the family members are going to help them. Well, that is what's going to dictate the price, right? There's a difference between price and value. So we're not promoting overpaying for the house. What Harry is mentioning is that we need to mentally prepare you for what is really going on in this market right now, because it's starting to get extremely competitive, and we're just in the middle of March. And come July, it's going to be very competitive, and we don't want anyone to feel frustrated. So we just got to stay in that pocket and make sure that we are setting you up for success. And part of that is lining you with knowledge that you might not have otherwise.
I would also add, Becky, too, is that can you imagine, we were talking about the prices, they haven't stopped going up for years. So 5 years ago, 3 years ago, we were hearing people say, well, I'm going to wait until the prices drop. Right. how much more are you spending today than you were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, right? So now is the time, because I don't see this stopping. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't see home
I do
prices
not see
dropping.
this stopping
No,
at all.
they're forecasting 10% for this year and next year. They're at 10%.
Yeah, so if someone bought a house in 2018, for example, your equity is almost doubled in some of these areas. Double what you
Absolutely.
pay for the house it's worth.
Well, I mean, I talk to all my my clients. Every single one of my clients is saying the same thing. I mean, it's just it's going up. It's going up. It's going up. Nothing's changing. It's not stopping.
And we'll let you know. I mean, we pride ourselves on the fact of letting people know what's going on in the market. We sat here in 2007, 8, and 9 and talked about foreclosures. We talked about crazy stuff. People handing their keys over to their lender and see ya getting out of town. We talked about when it was tough to go ahead and, you couldn't sell a house. We talked about that too. So now we're talking about it right now. We have been what's going on currently. And what's currently happening is it is a seller's market out there. And if you want to get in, there's nothing wrong with overpaying for a property if it's the property you want to get into it. Because once you're in, you're in. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with it. If you have to do it and you can afford it, always, if you can afford it, then now is the time.
Well, a lot of people hung on to their houses with good advice. They hung on. They understood sense of community. They loved the school. The reasons they bought the house are the reasons they hung on and battled through in 2008 through 2011. Of course, on the other side of that, tons of equity. Man, trillions of dollars of equity out there. And the prices have spiked all across the United States. Some crazy numbers down in Florida about in the last 2 years, 56% increase in home values on the average, John. Down in Florida, because it's just a happening space. So everyone's getting down there. All right, I want to invite some callers, and we got a few minutes left. 248-539-9797. And Jeff Gunsberg with Title Connect. Jeff, that's why I threw Florida out there, because we're in all 50 states. So if you need a mortgage, you're thinking about that second vacation home, be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Fund, and we do them in all 50 states. And we have some expertise in many of these states. And if we're not experts, we will find one of our team members who's an expert in that state. But as you know, down in Florida, Gunny, the association fees, they had that collapse. It was the in 2021, the Surfside condo collapse. So yeah, what are we talking about? Mismanagement of association money, not keeping the properties up. So we had roof problems and pool problems and things like that. So really, it's really brought the title companies in to play a whole lot more. You guys are involved in back dues on association. You guys, just all of that stuff that you guys handle.
Sure. There's certain things that people pay. Everyone says, okay, go ahead, make sure you pay your mortgage, right? A lot of times people don't pay their taxes. They don't pay their association dues. There's assessments, things like that we're talking about. So it's extremely important to have somebody who knows what they're doing, checking those things through for sure.
And those come out as liens. If you don't pay your taxes, it's a lien.
Absolutely.
If you don't pay your
yes.
homeowners association dues, the HOA is going to go and slap a lien on there for that. So a lot of things can affect the title work. And that's why I say, might not be the sexiest topic, but is the most important topic is how are you taking title? What's on the title? What happens, Gunny? Hey, I'm going to throw this out there. What happens when somebody dies, Gunny?
Oh, well, so, a lot of times people are not, and I think this is the education piece of it. People are not prepared for that. They don't understand. They don't know to be prepared. Unless you go through a real estate transaction where you are on title, let's just say as tenants in common, which means that you have a 50% undivided interest for each of you, and that individual passes away, say it's not a spouse, maybe it's your girlfriend, all of a sudden what happens is that other 50% interest goes to probate. And you cannot sell that house without going through that process, and that process takes time. It
4
could
to 6
be,
months.
You never know.
Hey,
Who knows how long
Becky's
that
got
takes.
one right now. It's in probate, right, Beck? I mean, it takes a long time. This is not an overnight process.
If it's a single asset estate, sometimes it could take a month, but it could take 6 months too, depending on what the scenario might be.
Title Connect will close in trust so that you can avoid probate, because that's the smart way to get around it is put your home in a trust and make sure you're designating who the home will go to if someone passes away.
Correct.
Becky?
Yeah, so like mine, I think we're month 3 it was a title issue too. So it was easement. They were fighting over like 50 feet of frontage. And then the title company actually that was handling it wanted us to take these exceptions where we were going to just take on whatever lawsuit was there and any errors that were to follow, like what you're talking about, right? If there was like any errors on this property. And obviously, as a lender, we can't do that. We also can't do that to our buyers. So we're like, we had to like hold up the transaction. And even with the title company and the buyer side, we're like, no, we're not going to take those exceptions to that title work, and make sure that our buyers are well off. So now we're going to close this month, but that's where, the title element that you're talking about, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that nobody even knows the magic and wizardry that you guys have to file through. I mean, you're talking things that could have happened 40 years ago that you guys have to dig up because there might not be clear title, and you're there to protect the buyers.
Hey,
That's
Sarah
absolutely
Patrick
correct.
with Oakstone Realty. Thanks for coming on. Tell us a little bit about your office real quick. And
So you can find us at 408 East Street in downtown Rochester, Oakenstone Real Estate.
Oakenstone Real Estate. All right, Sarah Patrick, you're awesome. Enjoy your
Thank
St.
you so
Patty's
much
Day.
for having
Named
me.
after you,
Thank
of course.
you.
And
Yes.
you're wonderful. We're going to have both you guys back. Jeff, I
Love
didn't
to
know
be back.
Jeff Gunsberg can make title insurance so fun and
I
exciting.
know, right?
You're a handsome little devil. Look
Everyone's
at him coming
standing in
in
here. Everyone's standing and cheering.
I love it. We obviously have a personal relationship too, but Jeff, thanks a lot for coming in. Great
pleasure.
work.
Thank you for
Title
having me.
Connect, they get the job done. And a quick shout out. Thanks for Becky Alley for joining us. John Kolb, Harry Glanz, I'm Harvey Freed. Call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We got Pat Caputo. He's coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.